I think the next December we will be saying that the biggest thing that happens in December is TAFCON. I have no doubt about that. I'm really excited to be part of this, and it's really quite touching. And when I was making inquiries about what are the expectations for me to sit here and what do people want to hear, and the things that I've heard is to talk about my journey. And through my journey, I hope I would be able to answer the questions that are talking on the topic of discussion today. And for me, what I am doing today, I can't talk about without talking about the early days of my life and my upbringing. That to a certain extent, really, to a large extent, shaped what I am doing today and how I looked at things. So I grew up in the North Bank, and my father, he was late. He passed away when I was 5, leaving behind me and my younger brother. And I always used to hear my mom, when she talks to her friends, she always used to say, you know, the kid's dad told me that I wouldn't.
It's okay. Yeah, we all have a story. It's fine.
If you don't educate my children. He used to tell me that, he used to tell her friends that the kid's father said that I won't forgive you if you don't educate my children. And I noticed that has been usually the direction of my mother, and all her priorities was educating me and my little brother. And so her primary focus was, she used to teach at a primary school at a nearby village. Every day when she comes from work, she brings me books and puzzles to fix. So that really kind of shaped the way I looked at things. I was able to be aware of more than just my environment, but about the world at large, and learned about electronics, etc. So the books and puzzles really helped me a lot in terms of trying to learn the skills that I needed to be where I want to see myself in the next few years in my life. But that fast forwards us to 2005, when two great events happened. The first thing was that a library was built in my home village by the Gambian School Trust. Hillary and Steve are here. They run the Gambian School Trust. And I was already a bookworm, so I used to go there like on a daily basis. And the other thing that happened in 2005 is that I used a computer for the first time. I've been reading about computers all this while, but I never used it. So I really get to have a feel, and I can still remember the excitement that I felt that day that I used the computer for the first time in 2005. And fast forward 2006, something interesting that happened. Fast forward 2006, something interesting that happened was I discovered email. So one day I just crossed the river. I walked into an internet cafe. I say, "Assalamu alaikum, ubil my box." Then the concept of mailboxes are still in people's heads. I will tell you why that email address is important. They asked me my name. I told them my name. What's your surname? I told them. What do you want to make your email address? I had no clue. And they said, okay, Assutech Jallow 2006. I never liked the name Asu, by the way. And because I was Hassan Jallow, they just said Assutech Jallow 2006. I was so excited about this email. It was my most cherished possession. So imagine, I went to high school in 2008 to Newsrat, and imagine somebody who had to cross the river to use an internet cafe, to use the internet, and I came to this school that had Wi-Fi. That was so exciting. But the problem was that the Wi-Fi had a password, and only the staff were using it. So just like any teenager in my situation, what I did was I hacked the Wi-Fi. And I don't know whether this is because of the teenage thing, but not only did I hack it, but I locked out all the staff and also the ISP. So this was one of the notable things that happened when I was in high school, and I developed a very good relationship with the principal as a result. Because one mistake I did was when I was changing the Wi-Fi name, it picked up my computer name and it said Hassan PC Network. So they went around the school looking for Hassan PC network. And you can imagine that wouldn't be a very difficult search to find a Hassan who was interested in computers. So, and I also forgot something really interesting that happened when I was in SL. I managed to buy myself a computer. And my mom used to tell me, Hassan, lo mata soko dogu doko de buy. Because I have that habit of, I just want something, I have to go and I can't stop. So I got myself a computer. Then there was no electricity in SL. So how I used to, we had a generator. How I used to go by that, I used to teach my junior school teachers for computer classes, and they will buy fuel for the generator, and I'll have more time to use the computer with my friends. So, you know, some interesting things happened in high school. One of the things was I knew about computer programming, and I think the greatest blessing that I've had is the ability to see my ignorance, the ability to look at what other people are doing, not only within my environment, but also outside of my environment, and to use that to gauge and understand really, I have a lot to learn. I believe in the statement, I don't really know who said it, but the longer the radius of your knowledge, the larger the circumference of your ignorance. And that kind of really guides me until today. At any point in my life, I am looking at somebody and I'm saying, I want to be like that guy. And I always go to them and I tell them, Uncle Tough knows, I told him. Yeah, so with that, I built my high school's first website. I won't go into the story how I figured out how to make websites. And I also started learning to code. Fast forward, I went to university. I spent it 2 years before going to university. I spent it in my bedroom. I learned a variety of subjects in the technology industry, and I built a website, a software for the Chamber of Commerce. They didn't ask me. I just found out that they're using a typewriter in 2015 to generate certificates of origin. I said, that is awful. And I built a software solution. I took it to them. They were so excited. And at second year in university, I'm like, I built a software that it's a state-level software that authenticates all the exports that leave the Gambia. I bet I can do this a lot of times for many institutions that have a similar problem. So that's when I started focusing full-time. When I was in high school, I knew I wanted to do two things. I either work for Google or start my own startup. And last few months ago, I actually had a job opportunity to work at Google. And my team, I believe in them. And we are going to cut through this. And I believe that with technology, we can solve a lot of problems in society. And every day, what we do is centered around how do we look around our environment and build technological solutions that can solve the problems that we have within our environment. And of course, people like me, there's one mistake we always make. We tend to think every technology can solve every problem, right? I bet if you had a conversation with me, you tell me you can't cook, I'll probably tell you, let me build you a robot to teach you to cook. But this is not practical because technology, like Kantaro Toyama says in his book, The Geek Heresy, technology is just an amplification of the interest of people. So technology, you're trying to accomplish something or you have a problem, technology will only facilitate that and amplify your goals at a more accurate and more precise context. So, so that is what we have been doing for the past few years. We were able to roll out more than 20 solutions out there, technology solutions in terms of websites and mobile apps. I'm sure some of you have heard of the DECA app and the Marble election application. We worked on those two projects. And I think that as far as using technology, what role technology can play in our society, it's, like I said, it's just an amplification, or Kentaro Shyama said, of our interests. So we need to start focusing on how we can leverage technology to do more the redundant tasks that we do every day. How do we use technology to automate these things as opposed to doing it the hard way? So I think this should be our primary goal. If we just focus on that, we look at the problems that we have in society and focus on how do we use technology to solve these problems as opposed to looking at a piece of technology and thinking about what we can do with them. I see on there that my time is just about to wrap up, that I want to make some very important points. So if you would have a takeaway from this discussion, you have a problem, look at what a piece of technology can do to solve that problem. And you know, at Assutech, we really believe in the potential of technology and how we can use it. And I believe in a couple of methodologies. And I believe in the lack of rigidity in a workspace. Because if you want a creative environment, You want to create an environment where everybody feels comfortable and they are left upon their nature. And you will be able to leverage the different and diverse skill sets of your team and use that to solve problems in society. And this is more advantageous if you are a good leader, because if you come in and you say something, the chances that they will buy into your idea are very high, because you will make smart decisions, but it's not necessarily the best decision. So I believe in inclusiveness and working, working horizontally, practically. Theoretically, we know how the hierarchy should be, but practically, how do we work together as a team to solve some of these problems that we have in society? And because one of the things that we should keep an eye on is the fact that you can formalize complexity. I can teach you calculus, you can learn computer programming, but there's one thing that you cannot formalize, you cannot teach, and that's creativity. And creativity is something that we're really underestimating over here. And for some reason, I don't get marveled by complexity, but I easily get fascinated by creativity. And to have a creative environment in this country, we should start losing up and remove all the rigidity. Like, you don't have to go to work to dress a certain way. In fact, I can just imagine what stress that will put on me if I have to think of how I need to look like before getting to work. Like, I've been to Google campus, and there's this joke in Silicon Valley that Google employees dress like homeless people. By no means don't do this. This has nothing to do with anything, but it's just the circumstances that create that kind of environment, So I think we should start focusing on the substantial things. Let's focus on goals and results and targets, and less on just somebody merely showing up at work. Like, you showed up at work, you get paid, you go home. So like, one of the challenges I have a lot of friends who have 9 to 5s, all right? So they go to work, 9 to 5, they come home. Whether they work or not, I don't know, but they still get paid anyway. I don't work, I don't get paid, all right? By that I mean, if I don't focus on results, just by merely going to the office is not enough for me. So I can't be like that. So for the past 2 months, every single day I have gone to work. No day is an exception. And we have not accomplished much, but there's one thing that we have accomplished in Assutech that is just a dream for a lot of multinational corporations around the world. And that is, we don't have a Sunday. Ask me what a Sunday is. Ask me, what is a Sunday?
What is a Sunday?
A Sunday is a day you wake up in the morning and you say, oh my God, it's Monday tomorrow. What do I mean by that? Our team, they are so motivated and they so believe in what we want to accomplish and what we want to do, that tomorrow doesn't feel like a burden. Tomorrow is just another adventure. As a matter of fact, you don't have to come tomorrow. What we need from you is to just get it done. So I thank you all for giving me this opportunity and giving me this platform.
Thank you. Then we just get it done.